Hello all, welcome to Kalam IAS Academy. This is Priyanka Mahapatra, faculty at Kalam IAS for Essay. So today we'll be having a detailed analysis of the last topic of the section B of UPSC Essay Paper 2023, that is, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school, right? So before actually writing the main content of the essay, what do? You do certain exercises. So what are those exercises? First, after getting the question paper, you choose your topic. You choose your topic based on certain parameters. So what are these parameters? Like whether you're able to generate the major 4-5 dimensions to it or not. Whether you're able to generate enough arguments and examples to it or not. Whether you're able to generate the counter argument of the essay or not. So if you're comfortable with the main parameters based on which you decide the topic about the dimensions, arguments, examples, then you say that, okay, I'm having enough content for this essay now. So this is my topic of the day, right? And then you go to the brainstorming session. So what do you do in the brainstorming session? In the rough page of the answer sheet, you just collect all your ideas which are rushing in your mind after seeing this topic. So the ideas, whatever ideas are coming to your mind, relevant, irrelevant, structured, unstructured, whatever examples, facts, quotations, any stories, whatever coming in your mind, you just collect it. Just write it down in the rough page. Then you have to logically arrange those points. You have to decide that what is my introduction, how I would be introducing to this topic, which anecdote or which quotation can go well with this topic. Then you come to the body part, that which dimension should be coming first, and what are the arguments under the dimension, what are the examples under the dimension, then what is the counter argument that should be coming towards the last part of the body, what is the way forward, how do I conclude this essay. So everything you arrange it, all the ideas, facts and examples accordingly under the arguments, under the main dimension of the essay. Then your framework is ready, right? So the main framework is ready now. So just after making the framework ready in the brainstorming session, you have to just fill in the content, right? So while writing the content, you just have to expand the ideas already decided in the brainstorming session. So that is the main point of brainstorming session, so that you don't have any confusion while writing the main content of the essay. Everything is decided and your essay will look in a very coherent way. The coherence would be intact, the natural flow of the essay will be intact, and there will be avoidance of repetition of ideas. So the repetition of ideas will be avoided in this manner when you know that which argument, which example is coming first and which argument example is coming last. So you check there that if there is any repetition of examples, right? So this is the main advantage of doing the brainstorming, which I tell to my students that this is the most vital part of essay writing, right? So in this particular essay, that is, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. So what is the basic essence of this topic? First you have to understand the topic, right? So this is about the rote learning versus practical education, right? The knowledge versus education, the school learning versus lifelong learning, theory versus practical. So school is basically about theoretical education, about just knowledge transmission, right? About rote learning. But what is education, what is true education, that remains after the school with you. It is related to the adaptability, it is related to the resilience, about the practical education, about the value perspective of the education, about the experiential learning, learning through experiences, right? So school is learning the text and education is learning through experiences. So this is how you should be dealing in this topic. So first dimension is that you should be introducing that what do you mean by schooling. Then you would tell in the second point, that what is education? What do you mean by the true education that is beyond the classroom, beyond the school? Right? And then you would tell that role of schooling process in building a lifelong education. So what is the potential of the schooling process to build the lifelong education and why it is very important to build that? Then you would come to the main, that why do we tend to forget what we have learnt in school? So seeing how are the dimensions created, you just have to think in every manner. First, you would deal with the keywords of the essay, that is what is school, what is education. Then you would tell that how school can be a potential place, potential platform to build lifelong education. That is what the topic is saying about. Then you would say that what are the reasons why school is not able to build the lifelong education? What are the drawbacks of school learning? Why do we tend to forget what we have learned in school? Right? And then you would come to the way forward, that how to make the schooling more education oriented. Right? Any suggestive part of the essay should be there in the way forward. And then to the counter argument of the essay, that education, the source of education is not always the school. There can be other perennial sources to it. So this is what is your counter argument. You are countering the main argument of the essay. The essay is telling that education is always related to the school. But here you would counter that and say that there are many other sources of education other than school. So these are the basic dimensions based on which you would be writing your essay. So here, coming to the introduction part of the essay, I have taken the anecdote of Einstein, how he made extraordinary contributions to science despite struggling in the traditional schooling. He had difficulties with the rigid and the rote learning methods of the education system in the schools. Okay, and the teachers therefore, they considered him as a problem student because he questioned the authority, he did not conform to the standard curriculum. He was even expelled from the school at one point of time. But his curiosity for understanding the universe, okay, that practical learning through experiences, okay, continued with him to educate him for the independent reading, exploration and experimentation always. So his self-driven education led him to formulate some of the most revolutionary theories in physics. His ability to think creatively and critically helped him rather than simply memorizing facts and following the traditional school path. Right? So this example exemplifies the idea of true education that is not limited to the formal education system, formal schooling system. So this is how you should be writing an anecdote, and then you should be actually connecting to the essay topic. That see, this exemplifies the idea of true education that is not limited to the formal schooling system. So this is how you should be connecting always to the main ask of the topic, right? So this in fact you should be doing at many places of your essay writing, where you would be telling to the examiner, see, I'm not deviating, I'm closely writing to the topic. Then you come to the schooling. So you should be explained, this becomes your body part. You would tell that what is schooling, what do you understand by schooling. So it is kind of formalized education system provided by the educational institutions such as schools, college, universities. It is a very structured and organized process designed to impart education, skills, socialization to the students, right? And no doubt it is the vital foundation for any personal and intellectual growth. It equips the individuals with essential skills and knowledge. But schooling can be limiting. Okay, so while essential part of education being the school, it can sometimes be limiting in terms of creativity, innovation, individuality, diverse learning styles. So it may not be catering always to the unique needs, unique demands of the student, unique interest of the student. So this is how you should be writing about school. Then you would explain the education, how it is beyond the schooling, how it is beyond the formal education, formal schooling. how it is beyond the classroom. As against the schooling, you would talk about that education is a lifelong process which is not confined to any specific period or institution. So it is basically a multifaceted concept that encompasses a wide range of processes, experiences, okay, and outcomes related to the acquisition of knowledge. So the key elements of education here being the skill development, socialization, value perspective, lifelong learning, problem solving and innovation, and adaptability. You can talk of experiential learning, where it is learning through experiences. So that will go a long way. That will be there with you lifelong. For example, you can take here about a group of students. So a group of students, when they are taken to a heritage village and shown that this is the art and culture there, instead of giving lectures in the classroom about the art and culture, so what they will remember more? Obviously, the heritage village. Okay, so whatever they are seeing, whatever they are experiencing, that will remain forever, right? So you can give such examples in order to prove your argument about it. So then you would be talking about the role of schooling process, how the schooling process can be a potential platform to build the lifelong education, right? So you should be talking about that, how it can become a indispensable process that can build the foundation for lifelong learning and education. How schooling and education, they are not mutually exclusive, they are supplementary to the process of education, they are not antithetical. So here you can talk about that although it has structured learning environment, just like labs where experiments are carried out in a cultured environment, in a calibrated environment, but it exposes the students to a wide variety of subjects in the schools that will help them to locate where the coordinates of their interest lies. Coordinates of interest. ठीक है, and it also introduces to a diverse group of peers and teachers, thereby it will help in the socialization process, the interaction with themselves, with the peer group, with the teachers in a formal setting like school, that will develop a social skill, a teamwork among them. It will also help in the development of certain values like empathy, friendship, participation, teamwork, compassion. So in that way, the school can help in the socialization process. Again, school can ensure the transmission of culture. They can ensure that the knowledge acquired by one generation, it has been transmitted to the next generation. They transfuse a feeling of national integration as well. They transfuse the feeling of nationalism by making the students familiar with the common history and the struggle of the past. Right? Struggle of the past and common history. हम पढ़ते हैं ना हिस्ट्री स्कूल्स में, हम पढ़ते हैं आर्ट एंड कल्चर सेशंस. Okay, that is how we can know our history. Okay, we can know the importance of nationalism, national integration. Again, school can act as a moral compass where teachers and the mentors, they light the way and interactions impart the valuable lessons to the students. So this is how the school can become a very important platform for the value based education, for the lifelong education. Then we come to the another main dimension of the essay where we tell that what are the factors, why do we tend to forget what we have learned in the school, what are the drawbacks. So here you can also refer back to the Einstein, where his history teacher asked him once about the year in which Prussians defeated the French at the Waterloo. So the history teacher asked Einstein about the particular year, but he could not answer. So the teacher reprimanded Einstein, but he responded by saying that, see, there is no point in learning dates. Rather than that, we can seek an answer to the question that why were the French defeated at the Waterloo. So this is the analytical part. This is the critical thinking part which the Einstein is talking about. So this instance uncovers many of the existing lacunas that is there in the current schooling system. that we are going for the factual learning in the school as against the critical thinking. So here you can talk of that how the traditional schooling overemphasizes on the standardized testing, how it follows the one size fits all policy that is leading to the narrowing down of curriculum. So by the uniform curriculum which the school is imparting, and the teaching methods are so rigid that they are not able to accommodate the pace of individual students, the unique needs and the interest of the individual students, right? And how the traditional curriculum, they does not adequately address some important life skills also, practical life skills, that is financial education, emotional intelligence, critical thinking. So you can talk of that how schooling education has limited focus on creativity and critical thinking and problem solving skills, right? Then you can also talk of that how many students, they are finding it challenging to see the real world relevance of what they have been learning in the school. Again, the rigid grading system in school or traditional grading system may not always reflect the unique capabilities of the students. So for this, we are not able to carry that learning beyond school. It is so rigid, it is so uniform, right? So because of this, we are lacking in the school to able to go for lifelong learning process. Then you come to the way ahead part of the essay, that is how to make schooling more education oriented. You can talk of experiential learning here, that is being recommended by NEP 2020 National Education Policy. You can talk of vocational education, you can talk of project based learning, you can talk of flipped classroom model. So under the project based learning, when students will be allowed to work in some projects, that is making gardens, sustainable gardens, building robots, organizing community events, so that will foster the problem solving skills in them. Then coming to the flipped classroom model, the educators here, they can record the lectures for the students to watch at home, right? And then they can utilize the classroom for the interactive discussions, group activities, or any problem solving exercises, by which the students will actually learn how to interact, how to foster innovation, creativity, critical thinking, instead of just listening the lectures one sided, right? So they can listen the lectures at home and then come to the classroom for the interactive discussion, right? And then we talk about the environmental education, how the schools in rural India, they often they focus on this environmental education. They take the students on the field trips to the natural environment, so that is helping in understanding the importance of ecological conservation for that matter, right? You can also talk of Montessori education, where it is emphasized on the hands-on learning about the self-directed activities, about the mixed age classrooms, very very important, to promote a holistic development of the student. Then you can talk of the vocational training. In countries like Germany, they offer some practical skill based education with their schooling system, so that makes them job ready while studying only. This also you can quote some international example. Then you can talk of experiential learning, that is recommended by NEP, where the students are made to engage in the real world scenarios, like they can start small businesses, they can conduct science experiments, they can conduct any cultural event, participating in some cultural exchanges, right? So that is how we can make schooling more education oriented, and this will be with the student forever because they're experiencing themselves, they're learning that for the lifetime, they're doing some research, they're doing some mind work, they're exercising their mind that will remain with them forever. Then we come to the counter argument of the essay. So what are the perennial other sources of education apart from school? What are the other sources of education? So you can talk of the travel and cultural experiences over here, very very important. which can contribute to a global perspective. You can talk of the online courses which are available now. You can talk of the open educational resources and podcasts that can provide flexible learning avenues. You can talk of the everyday life experiences, the observing nature to reflecting on personal insights, and they can always contribute to the personal development and learning continuously about introspecting oneself about the personal development. So that is how you should be making the counter argument of the essay, that what else? Always by thinking what else. In this case, school is not only the source. What are the other sources of education? So coming to the conclusion, here there are certain elements you must be having in the conclusion always. That is, you must be connecting back to the introduction from where you started. You must be connecting to the anecdote or the quotation for that matter, right? And any futuristic vision you can denote over here, or you can make any balanced point of view if the topic is allowing to. So here you can refer back to the Einstein again and tell that the true essence of education lies in the enduring impact on an individual's life rather than the temporary knowledge acquired within the classroom, right? And here you can talk of that how India once stood as a global epicenter of education by taking the names of the scientists and the personalities like Nalanda University, Charaka, Aryabhatta, and how India can revive that to become once again the global epicenter of education or Vishwaguru. You can take help of the slogans of the government. Okay, you can use that in your essay writing in the conclusion specifically, where it can give you that futuristic vision or the bigger vision of the government. Right? So this is how you can make your conclusion. So this was all about this topic's discussion. Thank you so much.